Today we're making chicken fingers and home fries, and this is something I had a lot when I was growing up. And we're going to start with a gluten-free breadcrumb that we made from some leftover bread. So I made these breadcrumbs earlier today by throwing our bread heels into an oven set to its lowest temperature, 170 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 2 hours with the heat on, and then I turned the oven off and let the bread cool until I was ready to chop them up. Alright, so the oven was on for about 2 hours, and then I just turned it off and I let these chill out in the oven for the rest of the afternoon, and as you can see, they are very dry. Alright, and there you can see after a couple of seconds of processing in the food processor, we've got some great breadcrumbs for our chicken fingers. Alright, so I've got about a dozen medium-sized russet potatoes that I've washed thoroughly, and the skins are pretty clean. If your potatoes are really dirty, you can peel them. And I've cut them in half and then cut them into wedges, so they're about 1/8 each. And then we're going to coat these with a bit of vegetable oil. And then I've got some salt, onion powder, paprika, and pepper. So we're going to shake these up, and we're just going to pop them on a parchment-lined baking sheet. So with our potatoes lined up, we'll pop them in the oven, and we'll check on them every 20 minutes or so and see if they need to be turned or if they're getting close to being done. Next, we're going to prepare our chicken. So I've cut my chicken into strips that are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick, depending on how large they are. So they're closely resembling what you would normally see as a chicken finger. And then we've got 2 eggs with about 1/4 cup of almond milk and the breadcrumbs that I prepared. The amount of salt we're going to add to these breadcrumbs is proportionate to the amount of breadcrumbs you have in your dish, not the amount of chicken that you're preparing. So we're going to add to, I would say this is close to 2.5 cups of breadcrumbs. I'm going to add at least 2 tablespoons worth of kosher salt. And then I have a seasoning mix that I prepared the other day that I'm going to use, but you could use paprika and onion powder or a barbecue rub or just salt and pepper. So we're going to start by dipping our chicken into the egg and then into the breadcrumbs, and we'll place them on a baking sheet that's been lined with parchment, and I've put a baking rack down. This will help the bottoms of my chicken fingers stay a little crispy, but using a baking rack is optional. Alright, so this is dipping it into the egg, and then our breadcrumbs using our dry hand, and then onto the baking sheet. Alright, and there's our 4 chicken breasts coated and ready to go into the oven. It's going to go into the same 375 degree oven as our fries, and they're going to cook for about 20-25 minutes, and we'll check on them a couple times here. So with my leftover breadcrumbs, what I usually do is toss them into a freezer Ziploc and freeze them, and the next time I need breadcrumbs, I'll add them back into the food processor and grind them up along with the other stuff. That way I'm not tossing them out. Alright, so it's been about 40 minutes now, and I'm just checking my potatoes with a fork. I'm checking the thickest ones. Alright, and with my chicken, I'll check it with an instant read thermometer, and I like to make sure it's reached about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And once we get there, we're ready for dinner. And here it is plated up, and you can see the chicken came out with a really nice crispy coating on it. And the seasoning is fantastic. I really like using breading like this. It's a great way to use leftover bread, and it gives a great texture to your chicken fingers. Hope you guys enjoy.